Let's watch this video now.
In case you haven't seen what's going on lately, activists for ending the war in Gaza have taken to gathering on roads and bridges and stopping commuters from crossing. It happened last week in New York and San Francisco, Chicago, Seattle. They also blocked traffic here on the 405, but no one noticed.
Okay, that's actually, as a joke, that's fundamentally not a bad joke. Like, that actually was surprisingly not that bad of a joke. I can't believe I'm admitting this. Obviously, because, like, it's not, the receiving end of the joke is not the pro-Palestinian students or activists, but instead how shitty fucking LA traffic is.
What they did notice was this, that you have to be pretty dumb to think that the way to bring people around to your point of view is to make them late to pick up their kids from daycare. And that's what most normies are thinking. I have a kid, I have a job, and yes, I'm sure there are injustices on both sides in the Middle East, as there are injustices all over the world, but I'm going to be late for work, something you protesters on the bridge seem to have the luxury of not having to worry about, which seems kind of privilegey.
Isn't it funny that the dudes who are saying this and like chirping have not had like a real job in 4 decades? It's like, Don Lemon, one, you're literally jobless, bitch. You right now don't even have the professional big boy job that you once did, which was already pretty fucking comfy to begin with, and you fucked up the bag. And it's like, now you do what I do. You and I are doing the same thing. Don't act like you speak for the fucking common man by being like, yeah, that's right. Your commute is not a real thing, okay?
You can glue your hands to the street because your hands don't have to do any work today. I'm not saying there aren't sincere passions.
Oh, not the fucking pro-Palestinian students aren't fucking me, guys. Scott Galloway.
About Gaza, especially among people from the region, but social justice warriors, for a lot of them it seems like it's more about the warrioring than about whatever the cause is. If you really cared about apartheid so much, which Israel does not actually practice.
Oh, hey, this guy hates religion, by the way. Have I told you guys how much Bill Maher hates religion? All religion. Why is it there's so many of these dudes who are always like, I hate all religions. I'm just chirping about all religions. They never have that smoke for the religious fundamentalism at the heart of the Israeli state. You literally just defended the ethno-state. The ethno-state specifically designed around ethno-religion.
Arabs there vote, they serve in parliament, they sit on the judiciary. Wouldn't you start with this, with the hundreds of millions of women in the world who live under a true apartheid, a gender apartheid of the most brutal kind?
What is Israel doing to people that wear the hijab under its apartheid regime, which you claim does not exist? All matter of right-wing religious fundamentalism that exists in majority Muslim nations is also an unfortunate byproduct of Western imperialism. Also, you just said Israel doesn't have a gender apartheid when like 40% of the fucking parties in the Knesset are talking about how much they want to cover the women and how little they should be learning to read.
Are you really speaking truth to power, or do you just think you look cool in a keffiyeh? Which is really just the new Che Guevara t-shirt. Another historical figure you never researched and so think is a hero, but was actually a sadistic, racist monster fighting for...
Che Guevara, literally, first of all, he's using the Heritage Foundation, which I love for this project. Aren't you anti-cancel culture? Aren't you literally anti-cancel culture? You're fucking chirping about a dude and what he wrote in the Motorcycle Diaries when he fucking literally spent the rest of his life fighting for Pan-African nationalist black liberation directly in Africa? You are older than he was, and what the fuck have you done with your career? You're still racist. What an insane take. He's literally like, yo, have you seen what Che had to write about black people back in the day? Time to cancel him. Please do not look at the Cuban Revolution and what it did for black and brown indigenous Cubans, what it did in terms of emancipation for them. Please don't look at what Che Guevara did for the rest of his fucking life, post-Cuban Revolution. Please. Bro pulled up old tweets.
Communism, the worst form of government ever. But these are small matters.
He's not funny. He's not intelligent. No mediocre, arrogant, shitty, unfunny person has had this much staying power, with the exception of Bill Maher. And as years have gone by, his quote-unquote comedy has only worsened. He is just basically repeating PragerU videos now.
Small matters when activism merges with narcissism. Less about the cause and more about me. Look at me.
Oh, dude, what are you doing? You're literally shitting on fucking student protesters who are getting brutally beaten down by the police right now for saying things that you are too terrified to say, because guess what? If you were to say those things, you wouldn't have a job anymore. You are a cowardly little piece of shit. You might genuinely believe that Israel is awesome personally, but you know damn well that if you were to say half of the fucking things that those student protesters are saying about how Israel is a genocidal state, about how Israel is committing a genocide and it is an apartheid regime, you would be shit canned, because that goes against the American State Department's interests, because you have nothing else. You have nothing else to offer other than being an old, arrogant asshole. Talking about narcissism. Yeah, it's so narcissistic that these fucking 18-year-olds and these 19-year-olds are literally putting their goddamn education on hold, getting suspended, getting arrested, getting brutalized, getting doxxed to do what is right. How dare they have morals? This is the problem with so many Americans. We are so selfish. Ultimately, we are so hyper individualistic. We are so materialistic. We are so hyper individualistic. We are so in it for our own self-interest that we cannot imagine a world where someone does something for other people. We cannot comprehend that a human being can see the horrifying images coming out of Gaza, images that we paid for with our tax dollars, and say, this is wrong, this is immoral, we have to put an end to this. So all of these other protesters must also be grifting. If they were grifting, why are they on the side that has no international support from governments? Ridiculous. I despise this fucking freak so much.
Watch me. And if you like the way I'm fighting injustice, remember to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe to what? The counter-protesters literally have media accounts. They are trying to unironically make a media fucking career out of this situation. It's the Zionists that actually have their own fucking personal, they have their own personal accounts. The student protesters hide their faces, Bill. Why do they hide their faces, Bill? They hide their face because they get doxxed, Bill.
But maybe from now on, before anyone commits an act of civil disobedience, they should ask themselves a few questions, like, is the most important thing in my life something I hadn't heard of 6 months ago? Do I even know? Do I even know what the fuck I'm talking about?
Once again, the assumption that like the people protesting against Israel's genocidal apartheid regime, they just simply don't know. Because if they did know how complex it is, then, you know, they wouldn't be protesting. They would be like me, making fun of the protesters. They would be like me, trying to both sides of genocide. They would be like me, actually, not even both siding, because I don't think he both sides it at all. I think he just is unconditionally dick riding Israel.
Am I really here for the cause, or is the cause here to bring you me? Hey, if it makes you feel good to cosplay as...
This falls apart instantly when you realize what's at stake for these protesters. Like, this is the same energy of being like, dude, you're a leftist grifter, you're a leftist grifter. You don't like what I say. Can't you comprehend that if you don't like what I say, then there are plenty of others who don't like what I say? I could be saying something else if I was a fucking grifter. Nobody grifts to the left. Nobody fucking protests an issue like this because they're gonna get anything out of it. They do not get anything out of it, which is extra ironic because a guy who is getting something out of his unconditional loyalty to this apartheid regime is ascribing his own fucking guilt and his own resentment for his actions to those who are actually putting their fucking bodies on the line for what they believe in.
As revolutionaries, knock yourself out, burn yourself out. Just don't drag Gaza into it. Also, throwing stuff on paintings is just stupid. No one sees mashed potatoes on a Monet and thinks, he's got a point, I should recycle my cans. Last week, Google employees staged a sit-in to protest their company doing business with Israel. Their T-shirts said, Googlers against genocide, but they could have just as well said, look at me, see me. And Google did see them to the door.
Doesn't this completely go against the narrative that he was presenting, that people are doing this for selfish reasons? They got fired. Why are these fucking assholes cheering?
They fired all 28 of them the next day. Yes, Cajonte Award coming to you guys next year. But maybe the question that today's protester needs to ask themselves more than any other is, why do I care so much about this particular cause? North Korea starves its people. China puts them in concentration camps. Myanmar brutalizes the Rohingya. Boko Haram kidnaps whole villages of...
Bro, what are you saying? Other bad things happening doesn't mean that you can just like stop me from complaining about this one bad thing that's happening. Number two, well, with the exception of North Korea, which we are directly responsible for the famine there by refusing to incorporate them into the global marketplace, but we are funding the genocide in Israel. Our tax dollars are. You have to be literally a fucking baboon to look at this argument and go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why don't you care about all genocides? First of all, you don't know that. You don't know if I have covered all the other genocides or not. And secondly, can you imagine a world where, let's say, somebody is stealing the purse of an old lady, and you see it, and you say, stop, and you start chasing after that person, and the guy goes, hey, have you not considered that wage theft is the single greatest fucking threat to the American workers, actually? Why are you stopping me? It's like, bitch, you're stealing from this old lady. I'm seeing it right now. Yeah, sure, there's like other evils out there, but you're still doing the evil.
Maybe if these Google employees had the slightest idea what kind of fundamentalist, oppressive assholes they're supporting, Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, they might take it a little easier on the world's greatest monster, Genocide Joe. Genocide, by the way, is when you want to wipe out an entire people.
Which is what Hamas said, and Hamas did.
That's the stated goal of Hamas. That's what from the...
Israel kills fucking 40,000 Palestinians over the course of the past 7 months with American weapons and American tax dollars and American political cover. I sleep. College students say from the river to the sea. Whoa! My man is anti-woke only when it comes to, but when it comes down to it, he loves canceling fucking Che Guevara. Quote mining Che Guevara, not gonna look at what he did for like most of his life, by the way, and fucking saying the real actions that are unconscionable here are students saying from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. An emancipatory slogan. That is the real violence here.
River to the sea means Hamas would do that to Israel, but can't. Israel could do that to them, but doesn't.
Oh my God. Israel could do that, but doesn't. Oh, so grateful we should be to the fucking holy state of Israel for taking their sweet time with the fucking ethnic cleansing. You know what I mean? Thank God. Oh, 75 years of this shit, but he doesn't think it's an apartheid anyway because he doesn't know anything. The only thing he has learned is to say the right fucking things so he does not come across as contentious to anyone in actual power ever again for the rest of his life. And then he's gonna do like Orange Man bad, blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. You're just as monstrous and a genocidal piece of shit as Donald Trump is. At least Donald Trump is chirping from one fucking perspective. He's just as narcissistic as you are. But you're a fucking fake Donald Trump supporter. You hate Donald Trump. You just love everything he does when he's not the one doing it. I do not want allies like this. I think you are a piece of shit. You are a monstrous scumbag. And I would much prefer an honest, racist Republican to a dishonest, racist piece of shit liberal like you.